And Bing. So Bing, there's a Bing. It says it's time for the Let's Support Retrospective. And here we are. Yeah. I know John's not got very much time, Baron, but I don't know. I guess I haven't actually been thinking about the particular format for this, but something that Pavel's been saying to me, and just like, oh, we must retrospect. And work's been going really well recently in terms of lots of development going into local support, and I'm reviewing the pull requests on the train, and that's we're making progress. We did have a very big meeting yesterday with the client, which I don't know if it was a bumper thing. I don't know if any of you got to see that. I wonder if we might just quickly start with reviewing that, and then we'll sort of talk about how it's all, the procedures and whether we need changing them or this, that, and the other. Okay, so do I have? Yeah, we have the review of meeting 71 is there. Yeah, there was a big look at the potential sources of funding from different areas. This group called Third Sector Potential. I guess I maybe rather than going through things step by step because I don't have much time, I will link people to the video. I think I put that into the old Slack channel yesterday. Yep, there it is. So we can catch up on that. Great to have you with us, Gail. By the way, everyone, welcome. But yeah, I mean, we sat down with the client, and I think already Michael and Marion got straight on top of the IT new pull requests coming in. I wonder if I could find that's a random thing, but I think I've got where is it gone? Yes, pull requests. Here we go. Oops, wrong thing. Here we are. Yeah, so we've got a new map marker thing there. I think Marion and Michael responding immediately to the stuff I posted into the local support. Oh, wrong thing. Over here. Yes. There we go. So one thing I've done today is I've actually, in the local support channel, I've put some Pivotal Tracker and GitHub integrations into there so we can kind of follow what's going on a bit more easily. Yeah, I can't think of burning things to sort of immediately update us all on. Although yeah, I mean we seem to we've fallen into a model recently where I think Marion and Michael with others are pairing at a sort of late US time. Each day I get on the train, I look at the pull requests, I give notes and feedbacks. I've been kind of doing more, writing articles and so on. Apologies to John for I wrote a short essay in response to one of the discussions there. And I guess the big question is, the process that we've got at the moment seems to be going quite well. The client's quite happy. Anything from your guys' side on how it's working, things we should be doing differently? Anything at all?
Nothing really.
I just had a question about the pull request workflow.
Yes.
It looked like in the tracker you had indicated that the fix that John, Marion, and I had worked on for the unsetting users would need to have an undo button before it shipped.
Right.
How will that affect our workflow? Is that already in develop?
I think I've moved that already into develop. Let's see.
So we would need to issue a fix for that before anything would actually be pushed.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of pulled that in to show it to the client on staging, and I think, yeah, it's sort of. I think it's not. It would be nice to have the fix. I think what I guess what I should do as a follow up is deploy those three things, all the other bits and pieces, and but maybe hold off deploying that one until what's the word? Yeah, hold off deploying that one until that fix is in. I'm not clear, about the cherry picking of that or not. But yeah. So certainly if there was a fix to that, I think either to when I was showing it, it was weird because it says delete. It actually really does delete the user. So in some ways, the critical thing would just be to decline. I mean, it could leave the user hanging around, and it would just break the association with the pending organization.
That's what it does. I mean, that's the updated thing that John had worked on, isn't it, John?
Yeah, if you edit the organization's email,
Yeah.
there's an after save callback that just sees if there's any invited users, and if so, it breaks the association. So
Okay.
the delete functionality is just something I shot in there because then you're stuck with these outdated users.
Right. Right.
So if Rachel wanted to, because that email that user's associated with must be out of date, she can now go delete it.
Right. Yes. No. That makes perfect sense. I think the danger is now is that one can
Accidentally delete it.
users
Well,
interface, and there's no mechanism for undo. It basically puts it's putting like a power tool in Rachel's hands, and I think she understands the risk, and it just needs to be careful. But it's like for the organization delete operation, before putting the delete operation in, we put in access versions, and so even though she can't do undo, we didn't manage to get an undo thing in there for her. She
well, we have paranoid, right?
we have paranoid, so we can undo it on the server side as necessary.
Okay, well, I guess that's all there is to that.
Yeah. I mean, we could just call it archive instead and actually, yeah. Well, I'm not quite sure what Access Paranoid does, but I assume it's just archiving it. So we could
it just sets it as a flag. Yeah. No, I mean, if we could throw Access Paranoid in there, then that's just sort of a safety net, and that would be really, yeah.
It hooks itself, from what I saw when I was playing around with Arrow improvements, it seems to hook itself into active record and only return, if you use normal active record queries, it will only return those for which the flag is not set that it's been deleted.
Exactly. That's exactly what it does. And so, I mean, yeah, if one could just throw active record in there, and assuming that we're lucky and it doesn't accidentally play badly with all the rest of the other things, then that would save me kind of. I could just then deploy everything, and it would save me having to kind of like do a mucky picking one thing out and deploying the other ones.
The only other thing about that feature is if Rachel does delete the account. Mm-hmm. So if she doesn't delete the account, I believe the invitation, if for some reason a user did end up clicking on the link, would be able to claim an account. It just wouldn't be associated with anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's some corner cases.
And if she chose to delete it, then they would end up going to a link that wouldn't work. Basically, it would be a
yeah. But I think that's if we have the undo in there and she makes a mistake, then we can fix it for her. If it's fully deleted, and then it's kind of a potentially more sticky situation. So yeah. Okay. Anyway, I would say see how we go. I mean, I think I think Access Paranoid is really useful. I'm really loving having it in there for the organizations. If we can quickly throw that into the I think we're going to look at the. Did we have the feature that relates to it? Clean up volunteer op edit page. Oh, it was a bug added there. We've got a note on here, and I put would love to have Access Paranoid on this. If that went in, and obviously it's a simple add, then that would be really cool. But no huge biggie. So I'm getting the sense that we're reasonably happy with the current workflow is okay. No major complaints.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, just involved with one little pairing session, but seems like works well with me to be working after 5 Eastern.
Mm-hmm. And Marion?
Yep, same. I think it's working well.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, one thing that some of the other Agile Ventures groups are doing is, they're experimenting with different tracking systems like Jira. Here at Makers Academy, I'm using GitHub Issues instead for a change, just exploring different what-have-yous. I guess we don't feel we're really reasonably comfortable with the GitHub and the Pivotal Tracker and so on. We're not feeling any need to change any of the tools that we're using at the moment.
I don't think any of the tools need to change, but I had, in terms of an organization for our CSS, it seems to be like I feel like we made a lot of changes to forms and things, but they were kind of like not comprehensively crafted with CSS. That's good CSS, if that makes any sense. Like there's there's a lot of monkeying around with forms and kind of like setting padding on this element and not that element, and there's no kind of like coherent strategy to it. And the other thing I noticed was because of the way that our assets work, like every CSS page, every CSS style sheet is pulled in on every page.
Okay, right.
Although, I mean, the style sheets right now just provide, like an organization style sheet, for instance, provides a separate CSS, but it is also pulled in on non-organization views.
It would be nice to upgrade a thing or two at some point, like switching to SAS or SCSS, so that our CSS files can benefit from some nesting. But we can all get to stuff like that in time.
Sure. Yes, I mean, I've been using some of that recently with makers, and there's definitely some savings there. Yes, it's interesting that we mentioned that for CSS. That's certainly, I mean, I've kind of been keeping myself on the reviewing Cucumber and then a bit more code and so on recently. It's certainly something I can be doing on the train is I could start taking some passes through the CSS. I think that would be I'd be happy to look into that. What it reminds me of is the other big picture things that I was sort of saying to Rachel in the meeting yesterday is that we're kind of in a bit of a comfortable zone now where we seem to be able to kick out features, pretty fast, and I think Rachel's pretty pleased to see, us making really solid progress. I mean, thanks entirely to you guys. I mean, it's great work there. And I was sort of saying, to her though, one of the things is that there's a depreciation associated with the technology in that. We're kind of still on Rails 3 and Ruby 1.9, so we could say at some point, okay, we're kind of stable with features now. Maybe we want to focus on, upgrading the stack that we're working on. There could be another one which is like, interface overhaul. Something Thomas was talking about in a meeting earlier on today. That I think it's a great look that current design, but it's sort of as time goes forward, it's going to look more and more out of date. Although, I mean, for us, we want something that reflects, the latest cool wizzy things, I guess. So we can say, look, we're involved in this cool wizzy thing. And then sort of like full width map. So on even more radical things, we might say, we're all interested in Node and JavaScript. Should we like restart the whole thing using a different technology stack? Or something. Do you guys have any appetites, preferences for those kinds of things? In that this is more like 6 months, year plan kind of.
I couldn't imagine changing the back end away from Ruby, but there's a lot of fun front end stacks. Like here at work, we're using React, which is just so functional and fun and simple to work with. But
Yeah. Well, what's the name of that again? Is it RIET? React?
React. REACT.
Okay, React. Right. Yes, I would certainly like to be exploring some JavaScript frameworks other than Angular that help us maintain the the nice match between one URL and one page and so on. But could be more.
Why are we against Angular, for instance?
Oh, I just feel like Angular. I mean, I might be misinterpreting Angular, but I feel like it ends up sort of it's like a Flash app. You end up having a single URL point, and loads of stuff happens, and so you can't. I mean, not that we couldn't be doing more experimentation.
And then on technology, I agree that we should definitely look at. I think first we should look at upgrading the Gmap for Rails gem and see if that also has the effect that we can remove that hack that I wrote for the Jasmine rake task, and and then potentially move to Rails 4. There's a few.
Yes.
Which is on topic with refactoring controllers, because the only blocking thing with Rails 4, I believe, is strong parameters.
Well, we can get around that. Rails 4 has a gem that we can pull in for 4.0 line to act like Rails 3.2, basically.
Sure. I don't think it's a difficult refactor, though.
No. Basically, you have to filter your parameters in the controller or some kind of service.
Yeah.
rather than relying on
Yeah,
the back end active record to protect your attributes.
I've been using some of that stuff in some other projects. I think it's. I mean, the interesting thing I wonder is whether one takes the existing code base and tries to upgrade it in place, or whether one creates a new Rails 4 app and then gradually pull over the things that you need in order to make it work. Might be a good way of leaving behind some of the stuff that we just don't need, if you know what I mean. Anyway, but would I be correct in saying that sort of in terms of, what we'd like, we're more interested in upgrading to Rails 4 than we are in switching to a different back-end stack?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. Marion?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Michael?
I thought about how we would gradually, like how we would actually factor out Rails, and it could be, I mean, you'd basically have to push more services to the front end, and then gradually, like, refactor. Like, we could theoretically keep Cucumber,
Sure.
except there's a lot of things that we've done implicitly, like, that are in process.
Right.
The fact that we can reach the database.
Yeah.
So that would have to be worked around.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, the other thing is, of course, it doesn't have to be the stack change. Could be from Rails to Sinatra or Padrino, rather than we'd still stick with Ruby, rather than going all the way to going all the way to Node or something. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, I think we are relying on a lot of Rails kind of heavy lifting for us at the moment. Certainly, to my mind, it feels like, it would be sensible kind of first step to see if we can do, because it feels like the Rails 4 upgrade is probably going to be less work than switching to a different Ruby framework or switching to a different language. So it would be, particularly since I think we've got longevity on this. I'm very lucky with my current work that I can devote a certain amount of time to this, and Rachel is continuing to be interested in a client, and also other things is she's done another nominate submission. So that's another big budget thing that who knows we might get. And Steve is saying he's got another, bit of money that might be coming through. So, it feels like we might be able to I'm sort of thinking maybe in a month or two we kind of make a plan for an upgrade and see if we can do the Rails 4. And if that goes smoothly, then we can have another number of months where we kind of hopefully reap the benefits of Rails 4, and then we can readdress the issue later on if we're feeling like, who knows, Rails 5 might be out by then. But anyway.
I feel like it would be beneficial for a lot of people to learn the mean stack in Agile Ventures, or something like it. But in terms of productivity, I think we have a very productive team in a large part because we've kind of already learned Rails.
Yeah.
And we've worked on it for almost 2 years now.
Yeah. Yes, agreed. And I think I'm kind of I'm actually sort of specifically looking at starting up new projects. I've got two or three actually non-profit organizations I'm talking to about new projects with the idea that those would be on the mean stack. So I think that hopefully we will get that in soon. But yeah, I think it makes sense to stick with what we have at the moment for those supports.
In terms of technical debt, I was also thinking some of our R specs are written very poorly because they were written a long time ago, and people kind of just extended that pattern.
Yeah.
In particular, the organization model spec is kind of chaos.
Yes, and I guess I'm hoping that a Rails 4 upgrade might help with that. I think the other thing is moving forward. I think for me, continuing to just use this train time when I'm kind of disconnected forces me to kind of do bigger picture things, like you've sort of seen the refactorings and the cleaning up of certain Cucumber things, and I guess staying in that mode, I'll keep moving backwards and forwards through parts of the code.
Yeah. I just want to say I feel like our acceptance tests are in large part a lot not better than our RSpec is right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's a separate conversation to have, perhaps, about what is it? About like the kind of relative pros and cons of acceptance, integration, functional unit tests, and so on, whatever. I kind of feel like probably let's not get into that here necessarily. I'm kind of starting to feel a little pressed for time. There's like a fancy dress thing going on here today. I have to get my costume on. But I think we can maybe carry on. I'll keep generating articles and the chat things. I mean, unless there was that kind of particularly having pulled John, unless there was anything following on from that John, you particularly wanted to mention relating those. I mean, I'm sort of interested to hear in what the balance of the testing that you guys are doing in your workplace at the moment. Like, are you leaning heavily on request specs or what you're doing?
Yeah, we don't have Cucumber, and believe it or not, I miss it. We could use some acceptance level testing here at work, so I'm happy with the kind of testing we're doing. I'll take a moment later on this week and maybe to address your article or comment on the thing on the pull request more directly. But in general, I agree.
Yeah, out of interest, are you doing acceptance tests with RSpec in your company?
Hardly.
No, interesting. So I could write a whole another article about the RSpec versus QM. Actually, I did write an article, and then another one. Well, here at Makers, we've got I was sort of comparing. Actually, at the beginning of a project here, side by side, writing the Cucumber and the RSpec feature test, because there's an addition that you can do for RSpec where you get like a features terminology and so on. Okay. Well, and I don't know if this happens to be a good time. We could even make this a weekly local support retrospective, or maybe every 2 weeks or something. Does it feel like it's good to have these occasionally?
I think not every week, but yeah, I think we can do
every
this
2 weeks, maybe.
very often.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, great to catch up with you. Gail, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you were able to hear all our audio. Just as we wrap up, Gail, did you have any questions or thoughts about local support?
No, I just wanted to get familiar with all the different projects and see where I can fit in. I'm mostly a client side person. I've been doing a lot of Angular.
Okay, right.
So we'll chat about that sometime. But it's impressive to see how nicely workflow seems to go.
Yeah, it seems to be working out pretty well at the moment. Yes, and we're very, very interested in people. We've got more client-side experience. That's great. Yes, and so I guess you're probably in the Slack, and there's a local support channel, and there's scrums and other things. If you do have more questions or thoughts, or I think if you want to observe a pairing session, then Marion and Michael are definitely people to talk to. It's great. Thanks so much for dropping by, and I think I really must pop off and put my party costume on now. So I'll leave the hangout running. If you guys want to chat, Gail, if you want to hear from Marion and Michael when they might be pairing again, if you want to observe a pairing session, I'll let you guys chat.
Okay, well, no, that's enough for me. But thanks everybody, and have a nice weekend.
Yeah, you too. Take care, Gail.
Nice weekend.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Sam, are you wearing your vinyl tuxedo?
No, I'm about to put a red Indian costume on, but I'll send you a photo.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Great to catch up with you guys.
Take care.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Bye. Okay.